From this point onwards, I'm going to talk about memories and life lessons that I've gained for specific years, beginning ones that I have from between the years 2000 and 2005. I think the year was 2002, 2003, maybe 2003, 2004. I had the coolest friend ever, and his name was Tariq, a smart kid from Africa who holds a special place in my heart. For the better part of that year, he was my best friend, who I'd often hang with in school and then spend time with after school every single day. Our mothers knew each other, so it made sense how we gravitated towards one another. We were often at times inseparable. One of my fondest memories I have of Tariq is how we used to chill out in his room and watch movies together, whether that be movies like The Lost Boys or one of my all-time favourites, probably because of the specific memory, The Road to El Dorado. The sad thing about Tariq was he had to be strapped to this machine at night to help him breathe properly while sleeping, mostly due to asthma. I'm fairly certain he had other issues as well. He was a lad that would often get in trouble and be smacked by his mom, but that boy took it all like a fucking champ. He'd often get in trouble, even if something was his little brother's fault. His brother was a fucking asshole a lot of the time, yet Tariq always had the biggest fucking smile on his face. Such a lovely, kind-hearted kid. The day, however, finally came where I would see him for the last time. I don't remember if I knew it was going to happen or not, but his mother was going to move them all back to Africa, and they had to leave pretty early in order to get to the airport in time. I remember my mother going with them, and she always said that Tariq asked her to say goodbye to me for him when she got back home. In 2012, I tried finding him. I knew some information about his mother, like her name, where she worked, or at the very least previously worked at, etc. So I thought, okay, if you're going to find your lifelong friend, the best way to do it is find the mother first. I had emailed her last known place of work and explained everything. Unfortunately, they could not give any information out, confidentially and all that. Therefore, despite trying, I was never able to track him down. I don't even know if he's still alive. I hope he is. I hope he's still kicking and doing well in life with that same cheeky grin that he always used to have. I miss you, brother. Around the same time as that, I had what I consider the worst year of my life up until that point. Let me just start off with, I'm a mummy's boy. Always have been, always will be. I was having weekly visits to my dad's, and up until then, I was hardly ever in contact with him. His then Mrs. supposedly, yes, I'm air quoting the word supposedly, had £50 stolen from my bedside table. Now keep in mind, I never go into my dad's bedroom unless one of them two was in there. They accused me. First up, I never go into your room unless one of you two is in there, and secondly, if I was to steal money, what the fucking hell am I going to spend that much money on and get away with it? I was then made to move in with them as a sick form of punishment. I was taken from my mother as a way to be punished for supposedly being a thief. Now, I get if my mother needed a break from me, I was an absolute cunt of a child towards her. Yet, they never said that it was because of that. Even though now it was blatantly obvious that that was the reason why I had to move in with my dad. For a whole year, I was away from my mum. I fucking hated every single second of it. The only time I was happy during the year between 2003 and 2004 was when I was in school. Then every day I had to go back to that fucking house and be miserable as fuck. Often silently crying myself to sleep because I missed being in my own bed. I missed being hugged by my mum and being in her presence. For the longest of times, I despised my dad and his then missus. Do not get me wrong, I love my dad and I love my ex-stepmother, but in that time I didn't. I resented them. During 2002 to 2005, there would be times where I would often find myself getting muddy, wet, and in a lot of trouble. How, you may be asking? Well, in our town, we had a wooded area that was called the Rock Park. Back in the day, me and a good friend, whom I am no longer in contact with, used to go for a walk. 2 8 to 10 year olds walking through town on their own, that's fucking mental, you're probably thinking. Yeah, maybe in today's age, but back then, there was less chance of some serious shit happening. It was common for smaller kids to walk out and about by themselves. Anyways, we'd always go to the Rock Park and slide down the muddy banks and go into the streams, playing around and splashing in the water, reenacting scenes from movies like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or even The Lion King. It came to the point that we were known for going down the Rock Park because we'd always be there. Whenever one of our mums would go to the other one's mum and ask if they had seen us, when the answer was no, they knew full well where we were. It was so funny. To this day, one thing I always seem to remember is we were down the Rock Park and decided to go home, soaking wet and stinking with mud. We were sludging our way up on the road, our jeans leaving a wet patch behind us as they dragged along the concrete floor after being soaked through completely. And coming down the other end of the pathway towards us was both our mothers, with a stern look on their faces. We couldn't help but try and conceal our laughter. I often think back on them days, especially whenever I now walk through the wooded area, seeing all the different spots that we would do random shit in. I doubt that my then good friend would remember any of this stuff, but it's something that always brings a smile to my face, and I can't thank him enough for giving me such happy memories that I will cherish forever.